So good day, Josh. It's nice to have you here. It's so lovely to have you here. I mean, we have been talking about this for quite some time now, and it's a good thing that it's actually happening. People would actually love to hear from you, like to have input from you. So our guest for today is DeFi Josh, and DeFi Josh is a Web3 gaming enthusiast and a blockchain analyst. He has truly embodied what it means to work smart and stay ahead in this space. So, Josh, I know most of us here know Josh. We know what Josh is all about. You would have been hearing DeFi Josh, DeFi Josh, DeFi Josh. This is DeFi Josh that we have been talking about, and he's going to be sharing some insights for us on what it means an on-chain to be an on-chain analyst to navigate through the on-chain space. So okay, I just accepted it. So all right, DeFi Josh, I'm going to leave the stage with you. Okay, let me introduce my name is Ahmed Mohamed. I am part of the Dune Africa team, and it's so nice to have everyone here. So DeFi, I'm going to leave the space for DeFi Josh so that we do the introduction by himself. I'm just going to be on the in the back end. Anyone that has any question, there's going to be a space for question. There's going to be a space for questions. So please let's just hear what DeFi Josh has for us. Thank you very much. DeFi Josh, are you there?
Yeah, Jim, Jim. I'm audible, please, just to be sure.
Yes, you are audible. Yes, you are audible.
Okay, cool. Good. All right, let me quickly share my screen. Um, then while I'm so that I will just begin from there. Yeah, sure. Screen. Okay. Um, can you all see my screen? My screen visible. Um, sorry. Is my screen visible? Okay, yeah, I guess my screen is visible. All right. So, GM guys, once again, my name is Joshua Wachuku. That's my full name. I'm also known as DeFi Josh in the Web3 space, and I'm a blockchain data analyst, blockchain data scientist, and let's say growing blockchain data scientist and a blockchain data engineer. Putting it all together, I'm an OG basically, but thank God I'm growing. I won't call myself an OG 100% because I'm growing in this space. I'm also a developer as well, so majoring on back end and also developing front end. Like basically, I'm really keen and big on growing and harnessing, like trying to be better every day, like skilling up on a daily basis. Because the tech industry now we find ourselves is not the type whereby I don't know if one or two persons here might be aware of the way the industry now, the way the tech industry is now is not the type that you need to be um you need to just be like master of one skill or one particular sector alone. You get like it's more like you see more people that are profitable being jack of all trades. That those people that are jack of all trades being more profitable than people that are master of one alone. Now it's not really don't get me wrong. Learning and mastering one is very important. Learning a major skill is very, very important. In fact, that is what you should actually do to start with. Like literally knowing everything about one thing is very important. However, knowing something about everything is also very important in this current tech industry. Meaning that you should know something about one, you should know everything about one thing, and at the same time know one thing about everything. Maybe someone might quote this like you can write this down. Very, very important. That's the way the industry is right now. So that's what me I'm as well. I'm trying to I'm trying to adapt, or I'm trying to um I'm really big on, so that I'll grab all the opportunities that may present my way, that may come my way, because now is not really you guys might have seen it. So of course, mastering one major tech skill or one major career path is very important. And yeah, me as well, I'm also I've kind of gone deep in data, the world of data, and I'm actually spreading my wings, going to the development side, because it kind of connects. So basically, um, um, like I said, I'm a blockchain data analyst. Despite I'm also I'm a blockchain data analyst, doesn't really mean that I'm not a data analyst in any other part that's not blockchain data. That's where I even came from. I started with that kind of thing. So I've been in the Web3 space for over 3 years, but roughly beginning of this year, that's when I kick started my journey as a blockchain data analyst. And I've gotten a couple of good works and built a couple of things that can speak volumes of what I've been doing basically in the space. This is my Dune profile. Um, yeah, this is my Dune profile. I would like to use this opportunity to just also talk about how to be an analyst, or things to look out for when you're an analyst, or some hacks basically from my own experience so far as an analyst, and at the same time maybe walk us through one or two things I've done so that we can see my thought process, the way I think basically when I'm trying to analyze a project, so that I will stand out amongst others, or I'll be more valuable. Get the point? So that's the thing. So this is my Dune account. It wasn't long. I opened this Dune account for, like, it's been a while. I'm using Dune, but I was not serious with building on Dune until June this year. That's when I got serious with building on Dune. And you can imagine, before June this year, I didn't have any single dashboard. But from June till now, I've gotten a lot of wins already from the few things I've done basically on Dune, ranging from getting recognition from Dune team themselves. Okay, I don't know if I can open that right now. Getting recognition from Dune team themselves, getting what do they call this thing again? Gifts, sort of somehow, for my reward, for my great work, basically using their platform and with the insights I've generated. I was also featured on Dune Digest episode 17. One of my dashboards I did was also featured on Digest episode 17. And yeah, okay, I think is someone raised his hand. Okay, yeah, you can, sure, you can come in. The person that raised his hand.
Sorry, no, it was a mistake. It was a mistake. Sorry. It's not.
Okay, cool. I wanted to show that I'm on the right track. So yeah, so basically I've got a lot of wins basically using Dune so far. Within a short time frame, was featured on Dune Digest episode 17. This is the post of me being featured on Dune Digest because of my analysis. You can imagine being featured on Dune Digest. My dashboard was literally sent to over 1 million users via email that subscribe to Dune newsletter. So they were literally looking at my work. Yeah, my work. And a couple of other recommendations, wins. The owner of running blockchain, as the co-founder of running blockchain, the Hans. Let me kind of see if I can get his name here. The Hans, the co-founder of running blockchain himself, reached out to me and was like, "This guy, you are doing something really wonderful and great, and I commend you for the work you were doing, like the work you are doing, how deep you dived in on running blockchain, the running games dashboard that you did." And me and him got talking. He's the co-founder of running blockchain and Axie Infinity. This guy is a bad, is an OG basically on in the space on running. So that kind of thing, some kind of open door. So I want to use this opportunity to also talk about the dashboard, or one of the major things that I built on running in particular, that made me get some of these recognitions I've gotten so far. Yeah, so um to start with, I'm not a one, like I said, I'm not like, even when it comes to analysis now, let's and we're sticking to analysis now, you building on Dune. Now I'm not a person that I'm just 100% stuck with one blockchain. Like if you check my work on Dune, before I even started using Dune itself, I was doing Flipside. So I had a couple of works and projects there and dashboard there before they ended their dashboarding and SQL too. I've built a couple of dashboards and projects on Solana, Ton, yeah, Solana, Ton, Avalanche, Ethereum, and the like. So I'm not really keen. I'm not really major on one blockchain per se. I'm multi-chained basically. But I found running as one blockchain that, oh, this is one blockchain that I want to dive deep in because of my love for it. And since I started building on running, I've even gotten gigs. There are many gigs that are not even here. Projects that I've worked on that are not even here on my personal Dune account, that maybe they're on a Teams Dune account, and or maybe using Python because I'm also very versatile with Python. I think I'm currently even building an application right now using Python. Okay, but that's not the bone of contention right now. So yeah, I wanted to walk us through. I want to walk us through basically how I this dashboard in particular, this running games dashboard that literally opened doors for me, made the this was literally featured on Dune Digest. Basically, this particular dashboard was featured by Dune. This dashboard also made the owner of running to reach out to me and say, hey, you built something really wonderful. So I wanted to just talk about what I did in this dashboard, basically that really, really was intriguing and caught the attention of these folks. You get. I want to use this dashboard as a major case study for this thing. So I would like to break down um break down one or two metrics that was done here, the logic behind it, and everything, so that we can just walking us through what I did and what I can use to encourage analysts basically that are building. Because of course, when you are building, you shouldn't just be targeting um just to build. You just want to build, you want to have proof of work. No, there should be a motive. There should be something that should be driving you to build. Basically, the way I basically think when I'm trying to build a project or analyze is that I don't want to. Okay, far back when I got onboarded, that was early this year, I was doing vanity metrics. Like I was concerned about metrics that to just show status, health, just regular metrics that will show like volume metrics, activity metrics, transaction metrics, user metrics. Those metrics are just like they're okay, they're not bad, they are also right and good to the right person, basically. But I'm also interested in metrics that will keep someone that someone will literally say, okay, what action can I take after this, after looking at this metric? Because if you are looking at just metrics, like for example, if you are looking at this first part of the dashboard now, you're just looking at number of transactions, you as a project owner or a project builder or someone that is really really keen on a particular blockchain now, you just be looking at this. It may not really drive so much insight. Like it might drive, yes, of course, to drive insight, but it will not really be so actionable that you want to start taking action towards number of transactions on this platform compared to metrics like user behavior analysis. Like when you're now starting to study user behavior, how users are behaving in a particular blockchain. So if you are trying to build on this particular platform, you will now start trying to understand how the users are behaving. So you will now start knowing how you will now channel your marketing strategy or your business, everything that come about your business, to kind of tailoring all of these to get users to participate in your platform, not just participating now, not just getting them to participate or use your platform now, retaining them over time. Very, very important, because you will agree with me that in DeFi and Web3 right now, one of the major challenges that most Web3 projects have is retaining users over time. It's very, very important. It's one big challenge. Looking at airdrops as a typical example now, if a project does an airdrop right now, 99, okay, let me not say 99, 90% of the time, you see that you have more users just selling off the airdrop, and don't they won't even care much about the project afterwards, after they finish getting their reward from the project. Like they are just there for cash grabs, that kind of thing. They are not really in for what the project is actually building. Most persons in Web3 basically are just in for the money, not really for the tech. And so they tend to just look for opportunities where they can just make quick money, or money, let me not say quick money, and just tend to leave, not really loving your platform. So that's one major challenge that most Web3 projects are currently having, that I really now love to go deep into, to see what's going on, so that a builder and OG in such platform can look at these things and start taking action towards them. So before doing my analysis, I always put this into consideration, that I don't want to just do it, just I don't want to just do vanity metrics, or do give just do analysis that will not be actionable. I like to want to do actionable one, except if I'm giving a gig. There are exceptions to this, of course. If I'm giving a gig, let me open one of the projects I recently. I'll come back to this. I'm just trying to use this medium to talk about my experience and one or two things that any analyst that is starting off can actually consider and implement. When I was working with this, when I was doing this analysis for this project is still on running. I was giving specifics. So this project is like Planet Horse basically on running blockchain. Yeah. So this was a gig. When you are giving a gig, of course you follow what you were told. It's just that you will now use your professionalism to now add additional insightful metrics that the owner of this project, or the person that gave you the gig, will find very interesting. So that if I the best way to make your client happy is to do more than the person requested for. That way the person will be happy. One, the person will even refer you or recommend you to users. So in such situations where you are doing like an analysis or a dashboard related, that is a gig. Basically, you will do what you are told, of course. But I was not even told most of these things 100%, because of my professionalism and how much I've literally gone deep on chain, that I now got most of these insights, because the guy that told me to build this only gave me 4 contract addresses. I embedded them in this text, just 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, just this 4, and just told me, okay, I just want to see what's going on in my project. No, nothing really funny and fancy, nothing really serious though. Yeah, I just want to know what's going on in each of these sectors of my project. So I was able to dig this, and this guy was like wow, the guy, I blew his mind basically with my work. So in such situations, you know how you'll be doing your analysis. And of course, I can't really do I love doing my user behavior analysis, and of course I would definitely want to chip it in, trying to understand user behavior in each sector of a project, or of this project, since this project had different sectors. Studying user behavior, literally focusing on activation and retention, how users get onboarded in this sector and are retained over time. In this situation now, I was using weekly retention analysis. Basically, if a user joined at a point in time, like if a user start using the platform at a point in time, how long will the user continue using the platform before the person churns? Or how long will the person continue using the platform and still continue using the platform, basically? So if you are literally looking at this, you can now start saying that, okay, so percentage of users that got activated were retained over time. That can actually be an action. It can actually is actually actionable now, as a project owner, a project builder, or the owner of a key person on this blockchain, or in this sector, or in this area, basically, to now start taking action to, okay, what strategies are literally costing, what strategies can I actually implement to make retention higher? These are now decisions that you can now start taking after looking at actionable insights like this. Yeah, sorry about that. So that's what I'm really keen on when I'm trying to do my analysis, and that's always what I advise analysts. So back to this dashboard that is like the case study now. Yeah, I because of time, I might not be able to cover everything, but I think I would just want to walk us through what I built here that made Dune and Ronin, the owner of Ronin or the co-founder of Ronin, to reach out to me. And not just the owner and co-founder of Ronin, one or two OGs on Ronin reached out to me because of this and recognized me for my good work. Basically, what I built here. So I am going deep on the dashboard now, talking about what I built here. I basically analyzed top projects on Running, top games on Running in particular, because I'm a lover of running. I'm a gamer basically. It's just that because of time, I don't spend so much time playing games anymore recently. Yeah, but I'm a gamer, I'm a game lover. So I decided to okay, just because I'm just out of curiosity, started researching. Okay, what's really going on? This was not a gig, basically. It was just my personal research. What's really going on running among these games, among these top running games, basically? So I was only able to cover 13 of them, 13 popular running games. If you are on running ecosystem in the running ecosystem, you must be familiar with most of these games. Basically, at least you must know Axie Infinity and Pixel. These are the most popular running games right now. Yeah, so I was able to just capture just this 13 because my challenge was I couldn't get the contract of all the games in particular. And the games are not so many. The running games basically. It's just that we're having newer games coming up every almost very now and then. They're kind of they come up now and then. So but I couldn't get all the contract addresses. Now if I open this now, okay, I have so many tabs open. Let me try and close. Let me try and close. Yeah, this is not my main account. This is my alt account. I don't want to tamper with these guys, but that's why I'm using my alt account. So, okay, these are the games. Let me open the query that I used for the. I stored the contract addresses. Yeah, for each of these games. So basically, this is it. For each of these games now, I was able to get and collect their contract addresses. Basically, this was not an easy task because I couldn't get my hands on more than this, so that I'll cover more games. But I was only able to get my hands on 13 out of the number of running games we have on the running ecosystem. But the good thing is that these are the top running games. Basically, these are the most popular ones. There's most persons on running are aware of these games. So I now targeted these. Basically, I was able to get these contract addresses now. That's the game addresses. Now, these addresses are more like related to the games of each and every related to the games. Basically, I was able to get these addresses now from Dune because I'm really good at. I've gotten used to, or I'm developing myself on that, but I've gotten some mastery basically using Dune. So I was able to find people's analysis or people's dashboards or people's one way or the other to get these contract addresses and started compiling them from my own personal research. I was able to get some of these addresses from this query, although this query didn't have most of these addresses here, or it was a bit scattered. So I was able to fish some of these out. I was able to see confirm most of these addresses on the running blockchain, basically using the running explorer. Yeah, then there are some I got from Twitter. There are some I got from Discord when I contacted one or two games because I'm in a running builders community. So I had connections with one or two games. So when I was able to get, although most of them didn't really give me what I wanted, so the few ones I could get, I also added them here. I also got some of the addresses that are here from Flipside when I was still using Flipside and still compile them here. So these are the game addresses related to the games, basically the game contracts related to the games on running basically. So I was able to get the addresses and basically just created a small table for myself here, the addresses and their names. Of course, you can find out that there are some games now that have multiple addresses here. Of course, if you look at the game, if you look at this particular game now on like you start if you are playing this game now, you see that one way or the other, these addresses you interact with them like maybe probably an in-game reward or something. In-game reward, maybe like an NFT or a token or some in-game rewards in the game. So they are kind of connected with these addresses. Yeah, so that's kind of why some games have multiple addresses, and that's okay and normal. Axie Infinity has two. I think this is one and this is two, and some other games here. So that kind of thing, I was able to get my hands on this, and I worked with this. I created a small table for myself using this simple SQL syntax. Select this from this, then values to impute the values in the table, then label the column names as contract addresses and projects. So I created this small table for myself so that I'll begin working with these tables for this dashboard and this project I want to build. So this is just like the baseline. Then I was able to just bring out their names basically of this so that I will just kind of be able to showcase the games in particular that I'm targeting in this dashboard. So that is that. I was able to just get this. I kind of ordered them in descending order, because if you look at the query, let me click on the query results. If you look at the query now, of course this game contract address table, I made reference to it in all the queries that I did on this dashboard, selecting project and contract addresses columns from this particular query, which is this particular query here. So it's literally just with this exact syntax now is just getting me exactly what is it's just getting me the query result of what is here. Exactly. So exactly what I'm having here is what I'll be having here, and I'll be having in subsequent queries that I'll be opening basically on this dashboard. So that is it. And now, of course, most of us are SQL scholars here, SQL scholars here, so we understand what we mean by CTE. CTE is a contract. So CTE is a type of subquery, basically. Yeah, a type of subquery, but this one is the most recommended way of writing subquery, because most subqueries, especially correlated subqueries. Now we're talking about SQL now. If you know your SQL, correlated subqueries most times increases query runtime. That is, if you're optimizing your query and you're not using correlated or just subqueries that are kind of inside. Subqueries basically in general reduces query runtime, but a better way to optimize your query is to write your subqueries in CTE format. Then CTE is basically execute CTE by CTE before this main select statement. So that's basically SQL execution order and one or two small OTs about query execution. So as an analyst in general, you need to be badass with SQL, because anything that relates to data analyst, being a data analyst, being a data scientist, being a data engineer, because I'm kind of covering these three, I'm mastering these three, I'm kind of growing in these three fields now. All data related roles, the primary skill you should have in any data related role is SQL. You should be badass with SQL, because you can be working with any platform. Most times you'll be using SQL. If you are good with SQL, you literally can solve almost 50% of all your problems, basically, if you are badass with SQL. So you understand? And SQL is is a very, very funny programming language, because it might look very simple because it's more like English compared to Python or JavaScript or CSS that looks okay. Compared to Python, JavaScript, or any other programming, because this is Python and this is the application I'm building right now. This is just Python syntax. Python is more like it's just, yeah. So SQL is more simplified because it's more of English language. Yeah, but it can still be tricky because Python is Python almost everywhere. But SQL, there are some variations basically with their syntaxes. If you are using PostgreSQL, syntaxes vary with if you are using Microsoft SQL and SQLite. Then come to Dune, using Trino SQL on Dune, or Snowflake's SQL that Flipside was using, that kind of thing. SQL is SQL everywhere, yeah, of course, but their syntaxes can vary, and those small variations, you can hit your head on the wall if you cannot get them. It can be that frustrating from experience, though. So that kind of thing. So you need to be badass with SQL. If you are good with SQL as a data OG, most of your problems will be solved, and you'll be able to figure out one or two things in your career journey, like when you are working on hands-on projects, basically. So yeah. So what I simply did in this place, because of time, I'll try to be fast. No, time is almost up. So what I was doing here, basically, I just selected, okay, this, getting this, putting this table that I got from this query in a city, then um, then added it to this place. Before I proceed with my analysis, normally one thing I do always is exploratory data analysis. That's very important. Before I begin building a dashboard or anything, I have a roadmap. I normally have aims and objective of this project. That's okay. That's when I will now start outlining what I tend to achieve at the end of the project. I always do that. So I'll be organized. I always have a rough work as well. Like it might still be on my system. It can still be on Dune. A rough query where I'll do my exploratory data analysis and many other forms of rough analysis to kind of decipher what table is actually the right table to use for this type of analysis, because that can be another very tricky thing. So doing exploratory data analysis, I might not take us down to that part now because of time. I was able to figure out that, okay, for this analysis I want to do, basically related to number of transactions, basically I can basically use this running transactions table. Yeah, so I basically just explored running transactions table and found out that, okay, running transactions table and most EVM related tables, because EVM related tables on Dune, they don't have, they are just like this. If it's Ethereum now, you just replace this running here with Ethereum. If it's base, you replace base, you replace running with, you just put the name of the chain there and you have gotten the table, that kind of thing. So I explored this table and found out that this table does not have contract addresses. And these games now have contract addresses. What do? I kind of realized, okay, let me try and open the table, so I'll explain it. I kind of saw that, okay, if I do my analysis now, targeting, let this thing open real quick. Yeah, if I do of course, this table does not have a contract address column, basically. So if I want to be able to get matching rows of the contract addresses that I have for the game address, I want to get matching rows of this with this. What do? I kind of exploratory data analysis now showed me that, okay, I can use from and to addresses. That is, if I didn't know anything about analysis before using Dune, basically exploratory data analysis now we can now show you that, okay, the contract addresses you are doing, if you can write to SQL syntaxes, you can see that those contract addresses will appear either on this column or on this column, since this table does not have contract addresses column. So, and I started figuring out the logic. Okay, when a transaction is done, basically, or an interaction with a game is done, most times when it comes to on-chain activity, like doing anything on-chain, most things that happen on-chain is a transaction. So a transaction could be a mint, a bond, or a transfer. All those things are like, those are kind of events, basically. Okay, I don't want to go to that's more of on-chain decoding and a bit of Solidity development. But some of those raw terms, most of these on-chain activities are transactions. So, of course, is a transaction. That's why you can use you can use a transaction table. And that table you can use for this same thing. I've explored Dune to the point that I can figure out using multiple tables for the same thing and get the accurate result. I can still use event transfer table, then which is for running. So I was able to figure out that, okay, exploratory data analysis now said, okay, I can use these two tables, these two columns on this table. Then I was now thinking, okay, when a transaction is done now and a user interacts with this game, most times the transaction is spearheaded by a user and the game is at the receiving end. So I was now able to figure out that the logic that I'm using for this thing with test running too, that most likely the user that's initiating that transaction, there are different forms of transaction. Transaction can be a transfer, it can be a mint, it can be anything, it can be a bond or anything. And so the user initiating that transaction will be in this from address, and will be in this from column. That's the person will have a from address, or the person's address is basically the from address. Then the contract address of the game where the interaction is done, or the transaction is done to or to with, it will be in these two columns. So we figure out that user will be gotten here, the contract address will be gotten there. So that's kind of what bettered this logic that, and I said, okay, of course, when I'm thinking, I think of the join first before the select. But I kind of think of it together somehow, but I think of the joining first. So I joined this running transactions table with the contract table, this particular contract table in this city now is a table. Then on matching to address, where the contract address of this table is matching to address of running transactions table. I earlier join this table as ROT, this running transactions table as ROT. Yeah, so the two column of ROT where is matching with the contract address column of CA, that is this table basically. So that's the logic behind the analysis. This I used inner join here, so I'm getting only matching records of two tables. That is where all these 34 contracts now appear. This thing basically just tells us where all the 34 contracts of this table appears here. Don't give me any other record that these 34 contracts do not appear. That's literally what this on logic says. That's we using inner join, because this inner join I can write inner in front of it. Join and inner join are the same thing. So that's basically this where I casted this two address column as varchar. It's just converting it to varchar. I converted it to varchar. Why? Because in this let me open this place again. I kind of altered the addresses here. Normally, Dune stores their data. Dune stores their OX addresses. Basically, any OX address, any EVM related address is stored as var binary. However, putting the address in a column in quotation like this converts it from var binary to varchar. So anything that you put in quotation, basically in SQL, not just SQL, in Python or most programming languages, you have converted the data type of that thing to string or varchar. If it's Python, you call it string. So that data type now is very, very important. So for you not to have errors, the data types must tally. So because I've converted this from var binary to varchar, the data types must rhyme. So the data type of this table that we just looked at now in this other query is varchar. Means that the data type of this particular column now, this particular column of this table now is varchar. Meaning that this two column of this table should have to be varchar for this join logic to work correctly. If not, there might be error. So I casted as varchar to convert the varchar of this table, of this two column on this table to the same data type of this other column in this table. Yeah, so after joining that, I'm just having matching records for those 34 addresses. Then I just started, okay, select project from this place. From this, basically this is select ca.project, but because project is not on this, there's no project column on this running transactions table. I just wrote project. So it's just pick the only project that is on the other table, which is this contract table. Select the project as the game, select the number of unique hashes. Number of unique hashes, that's count distinct hashes, basically. Count distance hash. Normally, I like using, you can also do count all in this situation, like when you want to count number of transactions, because for every record on this table is a transaction. So if you do count all, you can get the same thing. However, because I want to get unique transactions, I just said count distinct hash. That's count distinct transaction hash. Transaction hashes, every transaction has a transaction hash, and there are no two transactions that have the same transaction hash. If I'm using the correct English, yeah, I'm using the correct English. So you can use that to count the transaction hash. So I use that to count transaction hash to get the number of transactions. So I'm literally getting, forget about this thing I commented out. I'm literally getting, for each project, I want to get the number of transactions that happen on each project, basically. Wow, time is really flying. I've almost used an hour and we've almost started. Yeah, so this is basically the number of transactions that took place on each of these 13 games, and that is what I got here. Basically, for each of these 13 games, these are the all-time transactions, because this is, when you do this, you are getting all-time transactions, basically, because you're not truncating, or you're not adding and grouping by day, of course. So I'm just getting all-time transactions for each of these 13 games. Of course, your group by, I use group by always when you are doing an aggregate stuff. You always group by the column that is not an aggregate you always group by the one that is not an aggregate. So I'm grouping by this one that is not an aggregate. The unique thing about group by is that group by, if you know our SQL very well, group by is like this thing. So I'll show you where I use group by instead of this thing in one other thing I wanted to manipulate in the later part of this analysis and this dashboard. So basically, group by is like this thing. So it selects the unique project. So in this place, there are 13 unique projects, even if we're having 34 contracts. There are 13 unique projects here. So it just selected the 13 unique projects. I earlier it as game. That's why you're seeing game here. The 13 unique games and their number of transactions. Basically, let's not dwell on this so much. Okay, I just did small visualization. This is should load now. Network. Okay, I just did a little visualization of the number of transactions. This transaction now that happens on these all-time transactions that happen on each of these games. Basically, I just visualize them using bar charts. Yeah. Then I chose the color. I'm big on doing color coding so that your dashboard will also be professional and attractive as well, in as much as it's interactive and actionable and insightful, that kind of thing. So I also did all-time dominance of each game. How, of course, most you can see that Axie Infinity and Pixel are dominating over any other running game, dominating over the other 11 running games. So basically, these two visualizations are on that dashboard. Let me run. So yeah, I was able to get this ordering by in descending order, like from highest to lowest based on transaction. Then yeah, I think these are the two metrics that the two charts we saw here that I put here. These ones, all these things are very simple. I don't want to dwell so much on them because they are very, very simple. They are straightforward. Anyone can get it. Let me close these other tabs so that I will maintain a more organized stuff when I'm talking. So I'll be opening this particular query. I think these queries are the same. This one is the same. So I'll open them once. So I'll just run through them. What I did here very fast. So we'll go to the main and the juicy stuff that really made this dashboard really catchy and juicy, basically. So basically, I did exactly the same thing in this city here. Yeah, I was trying to analyze gamers and gaming transactions related to the 13 games. Basically, I was making emphasis on the 13 games so that somebody will not go and quote me that I said all running games. I was making emphasis on 13 games, these 13 popular games. So I did exactly the same joining here. Then I just counted the number of transactions. This one is all-time transactions that happen in each of these 13 games, and all-time unique users that interacted with these running games. Basically, remember that the form addresses are the users that spearheaded the transaction, so you can use that to analyze the people that literally interacted with these games. So this distinct is so that to avoid double counting, basically. That's unique user. So it gave me this result, these two. Then I just put them on this stuff here. That explains these two. Then explaining this two. This one is just is exactly the same thing, but here I did the opposite. This one I'm trying to get running users and transactions not related to this 13 games. So exactly the same logic of the query, but the difference is that here I said where the games basically, where the running games basically, the 13 running game contract addresses or the 34 running, basically there are 13 games basically, but they have 34 contracts. Where these contract addresses are not matching with the top column of this running transactions table, this gives the exact opposite of the other one. So this one just give this syntax here is not equals to in SQL. You can also write it as exclamation mark equals to. That's the syntax for not equals to. I think that exclamation mark equals to is also used in Python. Yeah. So this gives me the exact opposite of running transactions that are not related to these running games. I made emphasis on not related to these 13 games, meaning that I said I put a note here, meaning that there are transactions that could happen to running games, but they are not basically transactions that these are transactions or transactions that did not happen to these running games, these 13 running games. There are still running games that are not listed in this dashboard. So I categorize anything that I'm not capturing among these 13 games as non-running games transaction or I think what did I say? Non-running game transaction, or okay, yeah, I grouped under non-other running games basically, or non-games, or basically other running gaming and non-gaming project activities. Basically, that's kind of how so this is straightforward. It has been explained. It has basically been explained, and we've done this already. So we'll move to this. This one is gamers overall. Gamers overall is just basically, it's very simple. It's just basically this same. Wow, it's already two. It's already the same. These are active gamers. Active gamers is just exactly the same thing here. But this one, I'm not targeting the from address. Very, very simple. It's exactly the same thing with this one. This one is I'm using TX hash for that one. That's the hash column. Here I'm using from address column. Yeah, I want to just run because these metrics are just they're just there. They are good though, but they are just there. I want to go to the really juicy part of the dashboard real fast. So I analyze gamers that are playing one, and now this is where the user behavior analysis now kind of started, but I didn't put it in this section of the dashboard yet. And after analyzing gamers that are playing one or more of these top games. Now, for why I'm taking my time to want to explain some of these things is because I want anyone that's watching this to kind of see my thought process, the way I literally think when I'm analyzing. Now, I try to capture gamers that are playing more than one game because I'm thinking of it in a business kind of mindset that, okay, if I want to start a running project right now, a running game project right now, and I want to market my project or my protocol to running gamers so that they'll start playing my protocol, I want to get publicity. This is one important metric that I will need to look at for gamers that are OG, because most times if you realize players that play more than one game. Okay, let's do something more realistic, not game. Let's say if you have let's say if you're playing Candy Crush on your phone, or you're at the same time you're playing Candy Crush, you're playing football game, or name any game you can call, and those games someone can track the activity. If you are playing more than one, you're playing two, you're playing three games at the same time, you're playing four, you're playing 5 games at the same time, I can call you a gamer, but I can't call someone that is just playing only Candy Crush a gamer. I can call someone that is playing 15 games a die-hard gamer. This person, let's say 12 games basically at the same time, a die-hard gamer. So this person is a born gamer. So most likely, if I'm marketing my project or protocol to people, I should be targeting people that are playing more games, because the chances of them playing my game will be high because they love playing game in general. This is where I began my user behavior analysis. So I now started targeting players that are playing more than one games. So now show number of players on out of these players that are playing running games now. Yeah, these are the gamers. Now, out of these gamers that are playing running games, out of these 23,000 23 million people playing running these 20 million people are playing just these 13 games. So out of the people that are playing just these 13 games now, because the analysis is centered on just these 13 games, how many of them are playing just one game at a time? How many of them are playing more than one game at a time? That's 2 games at a time, 3 games at a time. Remember that it's just among these, I'm concentrating the analysis on just these 13 games now. How many of them are playing 3, 4, 5, 7 games at a time, 10 games at a time out of this 13? 11, then this one is 12 games at a time. No, how many gamers are playing 12 out of these 13 games at a time? Basically, I even said, okay, I even had to put their addresses. People that are playing these 12 games at a time, I have to bring out their addresses and say, come on, these guys they are the OG gamers. If we want to give them their flowers, these are the people that we should actually give them their flowers, or targets. Basically, when we want to target people that are playing games. So I listed their addresses, the gamers' addresses, and their portfolio link. If you want to track their portfolio to see what they are holding, to see the collection, the NFT collection, the tokens they are holding, their launching activity, the transactions they are doing, what they are doing, basically, you can track all of these in this link, basically here. So I could have done that for every other group, but I just centered it on 15. If I am requested to do for 11, 10, and the likes, I can literally add them to the dashboard. They're very simple, or someone can literally do that. It's very simple. So just opening this opening this, of course, I'm in my. I also like describing what I'm doing. These are the real OGs are actually playing more than one of these top running games. Surprisingly, over 11 diehard gamers are playing 12 out of the 13 top running games, basically. So at that time I was doing the analysis, I think I was seeing like about 12, but now I'm seeing 15 people playing 12 running games out of the 13 running games. So yeah, opening the query to see what I exactly what I did here. Let me click on query results. Um, to break down what I did here so that we understand my thought process towards how I tackle this analysis. Of course, I did this. We already know how I did that city. Then this user project city basically is basically almost the same thing what I did before, but now I'm not using left join. I'm doing left join now because let me okay. Okay, I didn't capture that in this dashboard. I will explain where I captured it in this particular metric. Yeah, I did left join here because I wanted to join this same table, this running transactions table. Basically, throughout the analysis, I was doing this running transactions table. Basically, I think for most part of the analysis, I was doing running transactions table and joining it with this place. But I'm using left join in particular here because left join, if you understand logical thinking when it comes to querying, now if you are using inner join, it only gives you matching rows or matching records of the left and the right table based on the condition you put in the on statement. That's inner join. But left join now gives you all the rows in the left table. It kind of favors the left table, giving all the rows, that's everything in the left table, and only matching records in the right table, meaning that the records basically that match with the left table, from basically all the records that match in the left that match the left table, that's coming from the right table. Now all the measures from the right table that match with the left table are going to be there. Then the ones that do not match, they will be having nulls. I don't know if I don't know, this thing is actually very simple, Sha. If very simple actually. It's just the way I'm explaining it now. Someone that doesn't really know all these things might get confused. But the left join is very simple. It favors the left tables and kind of disfavors this right table, such that the records on this on this right table are not matching the records here, will be having nulls. Yeah, if we use full join another type of join, we'll be having nulls for it. Kind of you'll be having nulls on both table left and right. Inner join is strict, it just gives matching, so there will be no nulls. So let me not dwell on this. If there are confusion, someone can ask me a question. I'm open to questions. So yeah, so I did that so that I can target projects that are not part of this running games. That's the logic basically that I used. I did the same thing I did before, but I'm now doing left join instead of inner join, so that I can now target projects that are not part of running games. In that situation now, in the query, okay, someone said something. Let me be sure that I'm on. Let me be sure that I'm not. Someone call my attention. And where's the chat? Where's the chat? Where's the chat? Okay, nobody did. Let me continue.
No, nobody did. Nobody did. But there will be space. There will be time for question asking.
Okay. Cool. All right. No, let me continue. So I kind of did that to capture the other players that are not related to these 13 games. Yeah, but I kind of labeled it as other running games or projects. That is, some of them can be games, some of them can be projects that are not running games as projects, that kind of thing. And so I kind of used so here I was trying to get the number of the number of users, the users basically, all the users on running, basically this is what this is saying with this logic that I use in the join statement. All the users on running, but give me the users that are part of these running games and the ones that are not part of these running games. So this logic that I was saying, case when project is basically, if we know our case statement in SQL, case statement is case when then else. Case when then else end. That's case statement. So it's just like if this happens, then this, else this will happen, then end it, then alias it. That's what case statement is. It's just like yes, if. Case statement allows you to do multiple ifs. So, but it's just a single if statement that is this. This what I did here is just a very simple and single if statement. So if the project column, basically because I was joining these two tables now, so of course we'll be having this project column now is from this contract table. So because the project column, because we don't have project column in this table, and this table is also being favored right now because of this left join, we'll be having nulls in this project column in this table here, this contract table. This project column now, when we join it with this logic now, we'll be having nulls. So this case statement is just saying when project is null, just don't give me null, give me just inside the row now, just be writing other project, other running game slash project, other running game slash, just be writing it down in the query. That's the logic. If it's null, be giving me this result. I don't want to be having null. Just tell me if it's null, just give me this. If it's not null, then give me the project that are here. So the 13 projects now will now be what gotten from, like the 13 projects to be showcased here. The ones that are nulls will be showcased here. Then end this entire this entire case statement now will now be giving me the like games. Now the way the output of this place or this thing will now be like Axie Infinity, Pixel, all those games that you saw. Then other like other running games projects, Axie Infinity can be scattered. That's where the output will be. In this thing I just highlighted now. Then this counts distance. Count is now going to now be saying the number. Counts the number. Then this distance now is counting the unique. So if we're having Axie Infinity, maybe Axie Infinity can appear 5 times. These other running games now can appear 100 times, 1 million times. Pixel can appear 500 times. This count distance will just literally, this distance will make it, will get the unique numbers. Then this count will just say count the unique. So all the plenty Axie Infinity will be counted as 1. So just kind of this, that's what gave rise to, that's what we'll be getting in this column, that's alias number of projects. So Axie Infinity will now be getting, basically Axie Infinity now will now be getting the number of it will be getting a number of Axie Infinities now, or the number of other running game projects now that is inside this place. I don't know if I'm explaining this thing well. If there are questions, I'm always going to answer them. Probably if you didn't get the way I explained some of these things. So that's basically it. So we are now getting the user and the projects, the number of projects basically that this user is playing. You get some users here are not playing anyone, so the number of projects that they are not playing, it's now be showing the number, it's now be showing the count of this. Let me not dwell on that. So in this final place, in this final statement, I said case when number of projects. Okay, I said case when this, let me highlight case when, then this is where the case when, then else, end. That's case statement. So this long thing is just one column. The name of the column is number of games. So let me highlight this case when, this entire case statement. This, some of these syntaxes here, it can look confusing and funny, but let me just explain them. It's just long, but it's very simple and short. I'm saying, okay, case when number of projects is equals to 1. That's this number of projects now. Case when the number of projects, that's if number of projects is 1, because we'll be having number of projects 1, 2, 3, 4, blah blah. Be having the number, the account, since this count has converted them from the projects themselves to the count. That's this. Yeah, basically, if the number of projects now is equals to 1, then give me the number of projects. The logic I used there is okay. Let me explain this thing. Then I'll go deeper. If the number of projects is 1, then give me the number of projects so that I'll do something with it. If the number of projects is more than 1, that's this else statement. Case when number of projects is 1, else. So case when number of projects is 1, then give me the number of projects, which is still going to be 1. So that I'll do something with it. If this else now I'm saying if it's not 1, then still give me the number of periods that are not one. So I'll do something with it. That doing something with it now, I now concatenated in this funny syntax that I see now. I concatenated that one because I'll be having one here. The way the logic is, I'll be having ones here, but here I'll be having 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 100, as many as possible, as many that the count can be. I'll be having more than one here. I'll be having just one here. So what I just did, this entire syntax is, since you are giving me the ones that are just one, I just want to do something with that one, and just for English sake, write one game. So one, this entire long thing you're seeing now is just saying one game. This other long one is saying 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games. That's basically this thing. So I just kind of concatenated one and game, two and games, because of the English, so that the English will be correct. Exactly. So there's some, that's this concatenate we are seeing here. Concatenate is to join things together. Of course, when you're not joining things together, the data types must still match. When you are doing this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, their data type is integer. So, but this game here, is data type is virtual because it's in quotes, and I want to join them together. So I must make their data types rhyme. So I have to cast this entire syntax you're seeing now is like casting this one. It's literally converting this one that is an integer to string. That is virtual. Virtual is the same thing as string. In SQL, in Python, you see they call it string. In SQL, you call it virtual. So converting this one from integer to string, so that I can successfully concatenate it with this game. Then that's this first syntax. Then SQL is just funny on Dune. So I have to still cast this one so that it will kind of rhyme. Even if it's still string, I still need to put cast as string so I will not have error. That's basically what I did here. And exactly what I did there. But this one, I did it for the ones that are plural, more than one, so that I'll cast it with games. I purposely left space here. If you notice, there's one space here, so that I'll be having one space game, two space games in the output. Of course, when I'm doing all these things, I'll be test running them. So it's not magic. Like, I don't just come up with them like an OG. Like I'll basically try it and see if I'll get how the output will be. If I get errors, I will debug. And so I don't just write these syntaxes like as if I know it already, 100%. So that kind of thing, that's kind of how I explain that I got the logic. Then I said, okay, for each of these number of games now that I've casted and converted to string, just give me the users now that are playing one game, two games, and three games and the likes. Give me the number of unique users. This count distance is number of unique. Then users. This user address is this user address that it was from before. I realized it as user address, so I must use this here. So count the user address, then number of gamers. Basically, that's it. There are other, of course, grouping by the one that is not an aggregate listing. That's this one that is not aggregate. Then ordering by this one that is the count in descending order. That's how I just got this something, and I put it in a bar chart. This I gave a description here. Okay, these are die-hard gamers now, playing more than one game. So I'm seeing gamers that are playing one game, and people that play more than one game. So that is how I did that. Wow, seat time, jeez. Then these are the number of gamers. This one is very easy. I've already done the hard work in that other code. So I copied the syntax, I copied the code, and just fine-tuned it to filter for the number of gamers that are playing 12 games. It's exactly the same thing, almost the same thing. I just fine-tuned the query somehow, so that I can be able to do it, and also add this place I can put a clickable link to running Explorer for you to track the person's portfolio. It's not just, I think the full thing is here, sir. Yeah. Then I filtered for where the games are 12. So if someone wants to just copy this thing, or if I want to just get the addresses of people that are playing 5 games now, I'll just come and edit this syntax now, just replace 12 with 5. I'll get all the addresses and portfolio tracking link. Very simple. So the hard work was done here. Let me not dwell on this. So this has been done and taken care of. Yeah, so these two I'm taking care of. Number of gamers on each of these top running games and number of transactions on each of these top running games. These ones are just day-to-day activity. This one is exactly the same thing with this one, these two. There's exactly the same thing with this one, just that now I'm not adding dates. I'm not doing daily, so I can see the day-to-day number of gamers and the day-to-day number of transactions on each of these games. Then this one is exactly the same thing with this, just that now this one is now dominance. So this one is day-to-day dominance, copying the same thing that is here. Day-to-day this one is all-time dominance. This one is day-to-day dominance. So these two are day-to-day something. So if I just open, I'll just open this one because of time to just show that okay, I just did added day here. Since you load. Yeah, so it has loaded. So it's exactly the same query and syntax, just that I now added date. I'm using date trunk here to manipulate the block time to convert it to day. I can use dates. I can just say date, then block time, like date, then open bracket block time as day. I'll get the same thing. However, I prefer using date trunk, and I'm used to using date trunk because when you're using date trunk compared to date allows you to manipulate time, any time related syntax to your taste. So I can manipulate, if I want to manipulate this thing now to so that it will give me results for every hour, every minute, every second, every week, every month, every year. I can just be changing this now to I can just change this to hour, then alias it as hour, or change this into minutes, alias it as minute, or change this into week, alias it as week, or change it to month or year, anyhow I want to manipulate. But if there are other forms of manipulation of dates, we will not be able to allow it to do something that flexible. That's why I like using date trunk. So of course there are multiple ways in doing some of these things. It's just for you to know your syntax basically. So I just did that. Then of course, because I'm not adding another non-aggregate column, I will not add the thing in my group by. Then I just did order by. This order by is not so significant anymore because I'm not allowed to now. It's only significant if I'm looking at the table results, the query results. But in the all-time results, when I put it in a chart, it's not so significant. So basically that explains it, what I did there. So basically I covered the same thing here. Basically, so now going proper now to the user behavior analysis, that kind of made that kind of interests people on running user behavior analysis that I did here. So I kind of now started studying, okay, how do users behave on each of these games? Remember, just these 13 games. Then I was comparing these games to other running transactions and gaming projects. So basically, is games versus other running transactions and gaming or non-gaming projects. Yeah, so but centering the attention to running games. So I'll still this is basically capturing everything on running, but centering the attention on the running games, the 13 running games instead of this diagram. So I'm not analyzing how are users behaving or interacting with these 13 games. How are they responding to them? Like basically what are users literally doing on chain related to these games, so that people that are building, owners of this game now can look at this and say, okay, we need to, this is what is going on in our game when it comes to user base, how our community or our game community is growing or declining, marketing approaches or strategy we can try to implement, what sector we are lacking, what sector we are doing poorly in, what sector are we doing better or doing well in, that kind of thing. Our competitors now, for example, Axie Infinity now has a major competitor with Pixel. How can we beat Pixel using these metrics that are here? How can we beat Pixel when it comes to onboarding users or retaining users? What is Pixel's? I'm talking about like Axie Infinity now. Axie Infinity team now can be looking at it. Now, what is Pixel's retention rate over time based on how do they onboard users and how do they retain them over time? That kind of thing. How are users churning or deactivating us, stopping to play Pixel? Can we take advantage of the fact that these are the social number of users that are churning Pixel and onboard them to our platform to steal their users? That kind of thing. What marketing strategy can we do? What in-game features can we implement that can make the people that are playing to enjoy playing and refer their friends? Some of those realistic business questions that can start coming up when you start looking at this section of this dashboard. So that's the form of analysis that I love doing, and that's what I did here that really got people running um intrigued basically because of this analysis. So user behavior based on the activation. I targeted, there are many forms of user behavior analysis, but here I targeted activation, retention, reactivation, and deactivation. Activation, of course, as we all know, is when did the user join this platform for the first time. Of course, so this can actually now tell you if this platform is doing well with recruiting new users, they are doing well with marketing their product or their service or their platform, they are publicizing themselves very well, and how are users responding to them by activating, showing realistically. Data cannot lie. So if you say you have activated 1 million users and you check the stats and you're seeing that you've only activated 100 users, that's when you now start asking yourself questions. So how well are you doing with your marketing, with your publicity, with your reach, basically, to make people come to use your platform? User activation shows that, showcases that. User retention showcases that, okay, these users that are playing that are using my platform now or playing my game now, how well are they playing the game? How long have they been playing the game? How well am I retaining these users that are playing this game now? So that I can see the percentage of users now that are churning, because opposite of retention is the activation. I can see, Abi, yeah. When a user is not retained, the user leaves basically, and so I can see the number of users or percentage of users that are leaving, that are being retained over time. So if I'm getting poor retention rates, I can now start looking at, okay, if for example I'm having a good activation rate, but I'm having poor retention rate, I can now start thinking like, okay, users, I'm doing good at marketing. Now I'm doing this at marketing. I can actually continue what I'm doing when it comes to marketing, but I'm lacking when it comes to in-game reward or things in the game that makes that will want to make users to continue playing my game. So I will not start thinking in that direction, in that light, that I will not say, okay, let me put in more energy, let's channel more capital or more income to improving our game so that users will love our game experience and will not want to stop playing it. So we will retain more users over time. So you now start thinking in that direction to retain more users over time. So with the metrics that is here, that kind of thing. Then okay, I'm started scrolling up. That's for activation and retention. Because of time, I may not dwell on them so much. Then reactivation is when a user joins our platform at a point in time. Did the user when the user joins the platforms and leaves? Because there are sometimes that users literally join a platform and leaves. Did the user join back again? So you can now say, okay, a user that knows one or two things about a platform, let's say you do marketing initially and someone joins and the person just leaves. You can start asking your question now, why is the person not going to join again? Or what's the probability of the person joining again? Or what's the rate? Measuring the rate of that person joining again, basically, to see people that rejoin your platform, continue to use your platform, that kind of thing. So this is reactivation. You can now start targeting marketing or channel your marketing stuff to that light. Then deactivation, churn rates, people that are leaving your platform is basically like the opposite of retention. So people that are leaving your platform, why are they leaving? They've got on board, they were onboarded before, but they now left. So why did they leave? What happened that made them leave? Should I work better on my platform so that they will be retained, they will join and they will not leave? That kind of thing. So this kind of targets them. So remember that I'm also making reference on this 13 popular running games. So this is where the analysis was centered on. Then I also added other ones as well. So just quickly, wow, 1 hour 30 minutes gone. I don't know how many minutes I have left, or if I still have time. Please, admin, please, can you let me know so that I would know if have exceeded the time. Hello.
All right, yeah, I'm here. Thank you very much for this. John, I think you gave us a lot today to actually go and think about. Thank you very much. I mean, the only question that you to answer is why did you okay, you said you were into gaming, you love gaming, that was why you choose. Why did you go to running blockchain? Is it that running blockchain has something that interests you, which is gaming, or are there not other gaming ecosystem that you could have gone into?
Okay, yeah, because I'm a lover, I play games a lot. That's one of the major things why I play games a lot. And I was like, okay, I think in what year was that? When I bought Axie Infinity. When Axie Infinity pumped, that massive pump of Axie Infinity, AXS. At what year was that? I'm trying to, whether it's 2021 or 2022, I'm trying to remember the year. I casually bought it because someone told me to buy it and it pumped. I made profit from it. So I became interested. So what was this talking about, Seth? I was not really deep rooted in crypto. I didn't know crypto, Seth, basically. I just knew coins. There's a difference between knowing crypto and knowing coins. So I think that's what spurred the curiosity, basically. Then I said, okay, what's going on? And now researched a little and figured out that okay, it's related to game. The token is related to game. Then eventually I now started seeing that running blockchain. Running blockchain basically spearheaded by Axie Infinity. And I said, okay, and I started tracking it and the fact that it's now related to game that I find interesting. And I said, okay, let me pay more attention to it. I didn't have any specific reason that apart from the fact that I'm a game lover and Axie Infinity did good numbers for me in my portfolio that time. I didn't really have at first I didn't really have any other additional reason why I said okay, let me focus on running or dive deep on running. However, along the line, I started figuring out that come on, this gaming. In fact, there are many cool things that are putting on running. That I said no, let me be here. Remember, when I initially started, I said that I'm not really 100% fixated on one chain. I'm multi-chain. However, I've gone deep on running as well at the same time. So when opportunity presents itself elsewhere, I'm open to grabbing it. But when it comes to running, leave running for me. I've gone deep on running. So that kind of thing, answering the question basically what prompted me to wanting to dive deep on running. It's just out of curiosity and love for it. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for clarifying that. I think most of the analysts here are going to look into gaming also. And what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think about
Hello.
one thing again is okay? So yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I think most of the analysts are going to go into gaming also. And again, do you think Web3 gaming? Do you see any prospects in Web3 gaming? In gaming in the Web3 sector, like do you think in the long run, do you believe that in the long run, the three gaming is going to actually people are actually going to be going into like building games in Web3 based on the knowledge that you have, how deep you are in it.
Of course. Of course. Gaming, when it comes to gaming, gaming is one aspect that's let's not be looking at it in when I'm from a web 3 points of view now. Gaming, especially top games like let's say people that play COD now, Call of Duty, Free Fire, is it Free Fire? Football games like PES. I really love football games. In fact, I'm a badass PES player. If anybody jam me, I will show the person something. Yeah, so for all these games now,
Okay.
all these top games now, I noticed that they don't put in too much energy with marketing themselves. How many times um have you seen any of these top games now as one funny ad? All those nonsense and annoying ads that you might be seeing on YouTube or on your social media, basically when you're watching social media. They don't all these top games, they don't really pay so much attention. But you see that people love playing them. Like people love them. Any game basically that is unique and that good, just because of your for the thing you are doing, basically, you can attract as many people as possible and build a community of it. So that's where I look at Web3 game. Web3 game is still in its early stage because the games in existence now, they are not really as from my observation, they are not really as they've not gone deep rooted with trying to incorporate Web2 gameplay or game experience on Web3. Probably because of one reason or the other. But Web3 projects, I've seen a lot of running projects really, really diving deep. Like Fairabone. I didn't add it to the project because I couldn't get their contracts. Fairabone is one project now that is really, really keen on trying to replicate that Web2 gaming experience to Web3 to kind of stick many gamers, like make them stick playing their platform. And there are many projects because I'm working with a typical running project, two typical running projects, Pixel and sorry, not Pixel, Kitty World and Planet Horse. They are really, really big on, in fact, Kitty World literally has a fiscal registered business in the UK, in United Kingdom. Now, an organization fiscally and registered with the UK government right now. So they are really big on building, like innovating this gaming, like trying to build innovations in this gaming ecosystem, such that, in fact, in the next coming years, now gaming can even be the new meta, basically, and it's already getting to be the new meta right now. But it can be the meta, the way people hunt for airdrops, the way people hunt for them, do trading and the likes. Gaming basically can be the meta that everybody will be rushing. So I feel, and I'm actually projecting basically that in the coming years, gaming can be one major, like not just a side part now of Web3, it can be one of the top in Web3. I'm also doing there's a project I'm currently working on because I'm also a data scientist. I'm building a tracker. The application I'm building, sorry that it's just kind of answering your question. The application I'm building is basically, this is the Python script. The Python script is really, really long. It's up to 1919 lines, basically. It's this long. The application literally tracks almost everything that happens on running, basically. Yeah, but this the data sets I use for this application from different sectors of Web3. I got data from CoinGecko using CoinGecko Pro API. Is the API endpoint with my CoinGecko Pro API key. Then also Dune API. So I use my Dune and CoinGecko API keys. I loaded data from CoinGecko and loaded data from 12 different Dune queries because I'm good with analyzing Dune queries to get on-chain data on running. Basically, all of them are on running. This data now, I added more data to it. Most of this data now, I'm going to, part of the project I'm building is I'm also going to do a machine learning model, like a model basically that is going to literally predict with trends, liquidity flow, players and gamers concentration, volume, where running is going to on running blockchain, like running token now and wrapped running is going to, what areas are actually getting higher liquidity than others, what game, what sector, what NFT, capturing all these major parts of running now. I'm literally using this data set to build the application and also train the model, and also with the model now that I'm also wanting to build using machine learning as well. So predict what should be happening in the future. So most likely I will unveil this project on Twitter and talk about it to see my predictions, basically, to kind of solidify my predictions about running and gaming in general. So that is even a strong answer to your question, basically. And most likely, from the stats and metric I'm seeing, the projections I'm having for running and gaming in general, that in the next few years, gaming is just going to be black. Yeah, so I think that's it. Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your response to the question. So we're going to be taking just 3 questions from the participants. So I think, okay, what's the Wakil? Wakil has a question. Wakil, you can unmute your mic and ask your question. Hello, Joaquin, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. GM, everybody.
GM, bro.
GM. I must confess, this session is really a great one. I don't know. I've really learned a lot, and I know there's still more to learn. So, I just want to quickly say something because I'm also a big fan of. I'm a Game Boy. I love games. So, you made mention of contact address. I just want to know how, because you mentioned you got some from Discord and reaching out. Sometimes reaching out is one thing and getting a reply is another. Is there a way or some like a means you can suggest of sourcing for contact address and all of that?
Okay, good question. This is my Discord right now. I'm in this. I'm in a couple of running games Discord. This is Fairborn. I couldn't get their contracts. I reached out. I didn't get any positive response though. I was not. I don't know. Which one? I'm trying to look. I have a lot here that I put in folders. I can't really find them. I'm also in running builders group, developers group, running creators group somehow. So one way or the other, I was able to get some contracts flying around, one or two contracts flying around. Yeah. Then I reached out to. I think I've left that server. I think which is it Cambria or I've forgotten the game only because this dashboard was done like 2-3 months ago. Like the collection of the contract self, the whole process. I think it started like 3 months ago. So I reached out basically. I got one or two responses that I was able to get the contract for. I forgotten the project in particular, the game in particular, that kind of thing. So yes, the normal way you can reach out, answering your question properly, the normal way you can reach out to a project like this to get their contract address is just propose something nice that okay, I want to build for free. I don't need to no money attached because when you when most of these projects if you are contacting them now, especially on Discord, they may be thinking that you are one of those mods that are looking for a job or one or two cash grabs, that kind of thing. You just say you want to contribute for your love for the project, you want to contribute to this project positively, and you might need their contract addresses or their more information about them. So most likely, if they have chance, they can answer you and give you a positive response that okay, hey, check our doc. Maybe in that case, you can now read their documentation, or just they can just give you the contract straight up. You add it to your collection and save it. I personally, I anytime I see something that I find interesting, let's say I see a dashboard on Twitter or on Dune or anywhere, and I find it interesting, even if I don't need that information right away, I always keep it. That was I always have a rough query that I will just keep. Maybe if it's a contract address, save it there and put it there and save it. Of course, you can save your work on Dune. Or if it's someone else's query or dashboard, I will fork the person's query, that's copying the person's query and save it. So that save it in a folder. You can create multiple folders on Dune. So that when I need it eventually, I will get it. So I was able to use that strategy to get this contract address small. Then I searched on Dune and CoinGap and Twitter as well. I think that Twitter was not really so helpful, Sha, to get the addresses. So that kind of thing, if it's they are reaching out on Discord or Telegram or any other platform, you can just propose something that is really enticing to them that you want to contribute. Then you can also showcase one or two proof of work in case they are not taking it seriously. Let's say as an analyst now, you can showcase this is what I've done. I want to just do replicate search for a project. Then they can give you willingly, they will give you their contract addresses for it to dive deep. Yeah, so I think that's just it. That's just basically it, fam.
All right. Thank you very much. This has really been helpful. I think I follow you on Twitter, but I don't know if your DM is open, but I'll try to reach out. Hopefully.
Okay, sure. My DM is always open. It's just that I receive a lot of DMs. So if you are reaching out, just tell me you're from Dune Africa, like you were in this space. So I will respond ASAP. So that I
Oh,
will there are a lot of scammers on on Twitter reaching out on DM.
sure,
So
sure, sure, sure.
yeah, yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. Please, if you have any other question, you can just unmute your mic and ask the question. I think we're just going to give 2 minutes for question asking, and then we're going to call it a day because we have actually spent a lot of time. And Sir Josh here has, I think he has other things to do. So if you have any question,
Um, okay, I don't think there are questions right now.
so I think with that, there's no any other question that would be asked. So thank you very much for making this possible. Thank you, Joshua, for making this possible. And also, you can join the WhatsApp community. The link is on the chat. You can join the WhatsApp community, the Telegram community. Also, you can ask any question there. Any project that you're working on that you want anyone to work on it with you, you can actually reach out in the group. There are people there that folks there that will actually want to work with you on any project that you would like to work on. So also, I would also encourage us to actually go into gaming also. Go and look at what is happening in the gaming space also. I think Indy has also started working on it also. He's working on the project called 3.2, which is built on StackNet. Which is built on StackNet. So you can reach out to him. You can reach out to Josh also. This Web3 space is, I think Web3, data space in the Web3, the data space in the Web3 space is actually growing. It's an emerging space. There are not a lot of folks doing stuff yet, but I believe that one day people are going to see the importance of analysts in the Web3 space. So thank you very much, Josh. Thank you for making this possible. And I think we're going to call it a day.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for tuning.
Thank you.
All right. Cheers.